I'm doing it in Mac, so some of the commands are a little different, like Shift is add, subtract, Option might be different. Your version will say what you need for Windows. So it'll all be down there. Probably one of the first things I would do is I would go to your assignment and make sure that you've downloaded the site plan. So save image to downloads. Let's see what we come up with. There it is, site plan. All right, because we're going to be bringing that into the SketchUp drawing fairly soon. So I'm going to start by using my roof plan, which you're going to have to go to the assignment for. Right, not there. So as I start SketchUp, oh my goodness, this is 2021. We don't need that one. Oh dear. Hang on. Just out of curiosity, I have no idea where I saved it. So, all right, I'm going to need this roof plan, which you've got in your package, and that's what I'm going to be going from. And that's where I'm going to start with SketchUp. Once I get the building blocked out, I'm going to bring in the site plan. So let's start with that. And I'm going to move pretty quick. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is get rid of the guy with his, I don't know if that's a mandolin or what he's playing, but he's playing something. I'm going to start on one front corner of the house. It's 25'3". I'm going to have to zoom out a little because it got, there we go. I want to make sure I can see it all. Then it goes back 31'6". Notice I'm making sure that my line is green when it goes back, that it's red when it goes across. I then have to go 17'3". I then have to go back on the green axis, 23'2". And then I have to go 21'1". I'm then going to come forward 24'1". And in theory, I'm going to go 13'1", and it should line up, we hope. If I come forward, it stays green, and it does line up. So I've got my rough footprint down. Okay, I want to go ahead, and it shouldn't line up exactly. We're going to find out. It doesn't. So that was a mistake. When I have that happen, zoom extents, and that shows me the whole thing. I'm going to go back to my line tool. I'm going to go across, making sure it's red. So it lines up. You'll see it clicks in to line up with that. And then I go over here. And now I've got the two boxes that make up my building. That the main building, I did this in pieces rather than add it up. So I went up 1'11". I then went up 4'7". I then went up 3'7". I then went up 4'7". And I then went up 1'7". And that should be the front of the building. For the back building, I have to read it right. I go up 7 foot and 1 foot 9. So first I go up 7 foot. Command Z, not inches. 7 foot. And then I'm going to go 1 foot 9. Okay, we're then going to start putting some roofs on this. The roof is, according to this, 12 foot 1 in the front. So I'm going to go ahead and, well, I'm actually going to put my overhangs in now. I've got overhangs that are, if I look at the plan, some are what, 11 inches, or some are a foot. I've got a wrong dimension on that one. It's a foot and pretty much 6 inches in the back. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to go out 12 inches. I'm going to come forward 12 inches. I'm going to go on the side. I'm going to go over 12 inches. I'm going to come forward 12 inches. I'm going to tie that in. You'll see why this makes sense in a minute. In the back, the overhang is not as big. It's actually 6 inches. I don't know if I call it out, but it's the same as the garage. 1, 2, enter. I go back. 6, enter. I just go here, escape. I go 12 inches out. I go back 6. I should be able to just connect the dots. There's that. And now I can put this here and here. And I can go here and here. And the reason that I did that, and if I look at my overhang, it's we're going to call it 6 inch. It's got a 6-inch edge to it. So I'm just going to go ahead. And then I'm just going to fill that in. Not that it really matters, but we'll do that. Oh. There. Okay. So now I'm going to go through. Now I'm going to make my roof 12 foot 1 tall, which I believe is what it said it was. 12 foot 1. And the reason I did this is so I don't have to go back and try and figure this out afterwards, because then it gets a little more painful. Did that one work? I just double clicked on it. Let's see. Yes, it did. But I didn't go far enough. I want to go, see my little overhang? I didn't go all the way to the overhang, so we'll fix that. Click. Double click. So, and now I'm going to clean up some of the lines, just because they're bothering me. Let's go ahead and orbit. Okay, now I'm going to do the back roof. The back roof also has 1 foot overhangs. I'm going to assume it's 1 foot in the front, even though it's not dimensioned, and it does call it out as being 6 inches in the back. So I'm going to do this. 12, 12. That one's going to go to there. And in the back, I'm going to go 12 over. And I'm going to go back 6 inches. Here, I'm going to go 12 over. And I'm going to go back 6 inches. Connect the dots again. There's that. There's that. I'm going to fill that one in. Although I'll probably never see it, I'm still going to go ahead and do this one back here. I'm going to try to. That'll work. There's that. I'm going to eliminate some lines I don't need so I don't have to push-pull a bunch of things. Oops. Zoom extends. Now, when you folks were doing this, did you save it to your Sketchup account? When you hit save, it automatically goes online and it saves it. So I hit save, and I can hit save to projects, and I can just click in there. And model name, we're going to go 2022 0405 SketchUp Final. Now, the nice thing about doing that is anytime you log in, if you use the same login for SketchUp, your drawings are all saved on the cloud, so you can just grab them. I'm going to go ahead and extend this 6 inches up. And now I just did trim around that part. I did a roof edge around that part of the building. That roof is 10'5". I'm going to go to the middle here. I'm going to do this one in the back because the front's kind of messed up. Midpoint. 10'5". Click. Click. And extend that out to there. I'm going to go ahead and fix the other side, or try to orbit. I want to make sure that I add this line in here so that it defines it as a separate plane. I'll try to anyways. Oops, yeah, that's going to be a little messy because we now have our overhang. So I can do this. Okay, so we've got that. I've got to fix. Sorry, hang on a minute. Let's do this one. Fix this. I'm going to reverse my faces because I don't like them being different colors. And in a minute, Chelsea, I'm going to do that overhang for the propane tanks. So we'll get to doing trim and windows and all that stuff shortly, but I know, Chelsea, one of your concerns was, how do I do the propane tanks?
It's the whole project.
Why is that doing that? Delete. There, that's better. Sorry, I gotta fix one thing first. All right, so I'm going to wind up, I don't have it, I do show it on the side. Yeah, I've got what you need. All right, so we've got 5'7". It's up 5'7". I'm going to do the roof first, and then I'll go ahead and put the tanks in. This line goes up 5'7", so I'm going to use my move command. I'm going to select this. Move. Now with mine, it's the option button. There's that plus. Click. Start going up, and then type in 5'7". All right, and then the whole thing's another 1'9" tall. (1'9). All right, it starts 5'1" back from the front corner, and it's 5'1" back from the back corner. So I'm going to grab. All I'm trying to do is, much like I did a window, I'm getting a rectangle on the building. I'll do the same thing in the back. And it actually kind of figured I'd be going 5'1", and it gave me that as an option when I started to move it. I'm going to eliminate those lines that I don't need. And now we got to figure out, there's a couple different ways I can do this. I can take my scale, which in this case would be architect scale. And we know these drawings are 1/8 of an inch, and I'm going to check that just to make sure. They are, in fact, at 1/8 of an inch. I could just measure how far it sticks out, and it appears to stick out 2 feet. The other thing I could do is I could look at this drawing and say the slope of the roof on this is the same as the slope of the other roofs. So I wouldn't bother measuring as much as I would grab. So if you measured it, you could simply go down and say it's got to come out 2 feet. I go 2 feet out in the red direction. I go up to the top. And then I do push-pull. Grab that, and there's my roof. But I would also, because remember, nothing constructed ever really winds up in a tight corner like that. There's always some kind of trim of some sort. So I would go ahead and push-pull this down 6 inches. And that's going to set up a little trim for me. So that's one way of doing it. The other way, why don't we just stick with that? That's good enough. The slope's fine. You could also copy these slopes down here and then intersect the line, which I might do. I probably would do it that way to be absolutely sure that the slopes were the same, but it's fine just the way it is. All right, having done that, now we got to figure out those tanks and how big they are. Now, I don't know, do they show up in the site plan, or did I erase them from the site plan? I'll bet I erased them from the site plan. Sure enough, they don't show up in the site plan. So we're going to measure them from the elevation. What I can tell you is they appear to be about 1'4" in diameter And they're about 4 foot tall with a little nubby on the top of them. So what I would do is I would guesstimate where they fall. I would start with, let's take a look at this end of the building, because I've got 3 down there. Got 3 coming in here, and it looks like it's sort of close to the end of the roof, which would make sense. So I'm going to go ahead and draw a line from here to here. I'm going to go out, just pick a number. I'm going to go out 2 feet. And when I do that, I'm then going to draw a circle. When I can find circles, that's lasso. Hang on a minute. Let's try this. There should be a circle tool. Hang on. There we go. There's a tool here for circles. Circle. I know they're 1'4". Now I gotta, sometimes SketchUp will irritate me, because if you'll notice, this circle is not going flat on the ground. It's going, I can't seem to get it flat on the ground. How do I fix that? Well, the easiest way I've found is draw a square on the ground. It doesn't really matter how big it is, just have it somewhere near the circle. Okay, now I've got a square, and when I go to draw my circle now, it'll recognize that there's a square. No, it won't. Look at that. Oh, it will if I do it in here. Fine. What if I put it there? Nope. Okay, I'm going to draw another line. I'm going to draw a circle. This thing is just fighting me on this. Seriously? Plan B. Since it's absolutely refusing to do what I want it to do, I'm just going to go ahead and draw one up in the air. The total diameter was 1'4", which means that's 16 inches, which means the radius of the circle is going to be 8 inches. 8. Now I've got a circle, but unfortunately, it's in this totally... Oh my God, I have no idea why it is choosing. Okay, I wanted it red anyway. So now I'm going to go 8. That's a 1'4" circle. The problem being it's not where it needs to be and it's going in the wrong direction. My way around that is I'm going to rotate it. Once I find rotate, there's rotate. Okay, I'm going to select the circle. I'm going to rotate it. Somehow. You just want to find a plane. I want to turn this circle 90 degrees for, let's see, I want to get it flat, so I want to turn it 90 degrees left, right. It should work if, let's see where. All right. I'm clicking it here. I then turn this 90 degrees. And I've got a circle, and I'm really upset because it's way up in space, and I don't want it up in space. So I select it again. I click on move. Click on an endpoint and just drag it down and put it there. Now, after much pain, I have a circle going the way I want it to go on the ground. I'm going to go ahead and make that 4 feet tall. Okay, now it's got a little nubbin in the middle of it if it's a propane tank, which I want to put on there. With any luck, I can draw a circle, maybe there. It will let me do it. If I kind of highlight near the edge of the circle, it gives me the center as an option. And I don't know, that looks like, bless you. Let's go 2 inches, that's a 4-inch circle. And let's make this about 8 inches tall. Close enough, 8, enter. All right, we're gonna be now I need to move it again because I want it underneath my roof, and I'm gonna move it in 2 steps. But first I wanna be able to see it all. So I'm gonna orbit so I can select it. I'm going to go ahead and hit save. Good. Okay, I want to grab it. So in order to move it, I want to select it first. I'm going to go ahead and on my selection tool, left click and hold, pull down and put the whole thing in a rectangle. Notice how the whole thing lights up. I can now move it. I'm going to move it closer to the building. So I use my move command. I'm just going to tap on even this line. And I'm just going to start to slide it in that direction. Here I can see it bumps into the building. Well, that's too far. Why don't I just put it about right there? That looks pretty good to me. Close enough. Now I'm going to want to move it again so I can keep that move command active. And I want to slide, as you can see right now, it's not really under the roof. So let's go ahead and move it this way. And we'll put it about right. I'm just eyeballing it from the elevation. That looks pretty good. Now if I go ahead and hit Option, in my case, I can copy it. And let's go down 2 feet. And let's do that again. And let's go down 2 feet. There's the 3 of them. And then I can, what I would do is orbit. I'm going to try and select just those 2 tanks, which gets a little tricky, but I can do it, I think, I hope. I'm going to try and grab, again, by using this, dragging a rectangle to the right, I get 1. I hold Shift, and that will let me add more. Now, with any luck, we only grab those 2 things, but it might make sense to orbit and see if you grabbed anything behind it. And it doesn't appear that I did, because if a line fit within those boxes back here, I'd grab it, and I'd be copying it at the same time. Copy. Option. And I don't know why my cursor doesn't change, but we're going to go ahead and put the 2 right about there. Now I've got the 5 tanks. I've got some junk lines to erase. And let's orbit and see where we're at. There's your tanks and your roof. So now I'm going to put in at least the bottom line for my windows and the door for the garage. And then I'm going to go ahead and bring the site plan in because I want to get to the site. We've covered your part, your question about the roof. I want to get to bringing in that site plan and spinning it the way we need to spin it. The reason I want to get the lines in for the doors and windows is because once the site plan's in, it might get a little tricky. You might be grabbing the site plan instead of the bottom line of the doors. This door is 7 foot tall. Let's put the head in. Done. These windows on the side are 1 foot 11. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom out a little. I'm going to pan. I'm assuming I grabbed a line there, but I don't know that I did. We'll find out. I did. 11, enter, and the door looks to be about, I'm going to assume it's 6 foot. Let's measure it. Door opening appears to be about 6'8" tall, which is what it should be. So let's go up 6'8". Just give me another line for now. You know what? I'm not going to do that for now. I'll come back and do the door. I'll make it work. All right, so now I've got the bottom line for the windows. I'm going to go ahead and bring my site plan in at this point. So if I go to Import, My Device, My Device. In my case, I'm going to go to Downloads, I think. There's Downloads. Final Class Site Plan JPEG. Click that. Image. And here it is. I want to make sure I go right to the corner of the building and make sure it's on there and see if I can move it till it's flat. Now it's flat. Click it. Just make it a little bigger. And now we've brought the site plan in. But now we have to get it to scale. Well, we've got a scale on this. So let's measure it. It's supposed to be 40 from here to here. And I come up with 22 foot 1/2 inch. We're going to call it 22 feet, which means I need to make it bigger. If I take 40 and divide it by 22, I come up with 1.8181818181. So let's scale it. If I can remember where scale was. There's scale. Highlight it. Start moving it, and I type in 1.8181818181. Let's see how well we did. We're going to check it. And sure enough, well, I don't know sure enough yet. I'm going to start here. I'm going to go to there. I have 40 5/16 of an inch. Close enough. Now I want to move this corner of my building to this corner of the building that I drew so far in SketchUp. I'm going to do that in a couple different phases. I'm always going to move in the red or green direction. I'm going to check something. Yep, it's lined up at the bottom. So I'm going to try and get it close. Sorry. Move. I'm just going to hit it here and make sure that that green is lit up. Don't have it blue. Don't have it black. It's got to be green. I'm pulling it forward. I'm going to the green, and I'm just going to try and get the corner close to it. That looks close. You can see that this corner is that corner. It kind of lines up. Now I want to get this corner. I'm going to go in the red direction. I'm going to left click, move in the red direction until it looks like it's right there. Now I'm going to zoom in and see how close I got. Actually, I'm pretty darn close, but I want to get it right on if I can. So it looks like I got to move it a little bit to the red. I'm going to go ahead and select this. Just click on it, and hopefully I selected it. I can't really tell, but it will let me know. There it is. So let's get it there. That looks pretty good. Now if I orbit, yeah, it's right on the corner, but it's twisted. So now I have to rotate. I want to select the site plan. There, it's highlighted in blue. Now I want to get back to my rotate command, which is probably under move. It's under move. It's those two arrows. I'm going to click right on the corner where it says endpoint. I left click once. I click again. And now I start to spin this until it looks like it's lined up. And let's see how we did. Looks pretty good there, because remember my roof overhang's sticking out a little bit. Let's see how the garage looks. And that garage looks pretty darn close, doesn't it? That's the overhang. There's the corner of the garage. So now I've got the site plan in where I want it. It's been rotated where I need it. I brought it in, I scaled it, and in this case I had to rotate it. Once you've done that, now I would actually start trying to save a view that you like. What's going to be a nice view? Well, I want to keep the horizon below the roof line. I don't have to, but I'm going to bring it up to about right there. Now, if I want to see where I'm at, if I click on look around, let's click on look around. Eye height, I'm 25 foot 10 up in the air. I can click on that and change it to 5 foot. I can click on that and change it back to 25 foot 10. I can change it to 100 feet. All right. And that's using the look around command. And I'm going to go back to the 25 foot. I'll go 26 foot. It's easier than 25 foot 10. All right, so I'm looking at it from about 26 foot in the air. I want to keep it there. So now when I want to get my view, I'm no longer going to use the orbit tool because that will change my eye height. Watch the horizon if I use the orbit tool. See it move? It's no longer 26 feet 10 in the 26 feet in the air. So now I'm going to go back into my eyeball and set that back to 26 feet or whatever I want it to be. But from here on in, I'm going to set my view using the eyeball, which will allow me to turn and get a view that I like. And I like that, but I think it's pretty far away from the building. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk. And when I walk, I left click and hold it, and now I'm walking towards the building, but notice the horizon isn't changing. If I did zoom, just a normal zoom, See the horizon change? Now I got to go back. Set my eye height, 26 feet. So once you've got your eye height where you want it, move around using walk and look around. You can move closer to the building. You can move further away from the building. I'm going to go about right there. I want to try and get I'm not so sure. I can also walk to the side. I can walk to this side. Let's go. I kind of like that right about there. I go over to scene, scenes, plus, and scene 1. Okay, so now when I screw up and do this, all I have to do is click on scene 1, and I'm right back to the scene I wanted. By the way, if this menu comes up and you don't like it, you just click that arrow and it goes away. So I've got a view that I want. The next thing I would do would be to go ahead and put in windows, trim, doors. I can do all that if you'd like. I'll go ahead and do that. And then the last thing I would do would put some tree heights in, just to give me a rough idea how tall my trees are going to be. But I know, by the way, I want to show you something. Let's say I didn't put my tree heights in, and I knew I had a 30-foot tree. Let's say this tree right here was 30 feet tall. Okay, I don't really have to, I could draw a line if I know it, kind of put it in the middle, eyeball it, on face and image, and go up and just type in 30 feet. But I can also do the same thing either in SketchUp or in my drawing when I'm actually illustrating it. I can take my pencil and I can say, all right, I know that I'm 26 feet in the air and I want to draw a 30-foot tree. I know that if I draw a line up to the horizon line, it's going to be 26 feet tall. So it's going to have to go a little above the horizon line. There, I just did 31 foot 2. Let's say these guys are 10 feet tall. I know that from where it starts, if that's 26 feet to the horizon line, there's halfway. That's going to be about 13 feet. I'd guess that to be about 10. And it was 70 foot. Wow, that's a big tree. Maybe I didn't do it blue. Let's try it again. Yeah, that's the problem. It's green. It's got to be blue. Sorry, guys. So I go up to the horizon. That's 26 feet. That's about 13 feet. There. How'd I do? 9 foot 10. Close enough. So you can put the lines in SketchUp, or you can do it when you're drawing. Just use your horizon line as a reference. If you know what your eyeball height is, you can tell the height on anything in this drawing. Draw a line up from the ground to the horizon is 26 feet. Let's go ahead and get rid of those tree lines. All right, I'm going to start putting in the windows. We'll go up 4'7". I'm going to grab both lines because the windows go on both sides. I'm going to try and remember where a move was. There it is. I don't know why my computer does that. Click something before copying. All right, let's do that. Now we'll go here. That's why I did it. Okay, and then it's 3'7". and then it's 4'7". I'm just going to copy this. Okay, I've got the heads and the sills of those windows on two sides of the building. I'm going to go ahead and put them in here. I know that those are 1'6" up, and I'm just going to split it, even though it might not be right. So let's do this. It says it's 2'7" apart, so I'm going to go 1 foot 3.5 inches. There's one line. There's another line. The windows start, what did I say, 1'6". And the windows are 4'7" tall. Ick. And they are 2'9" wide. Are all the windows? Yeah, all the windows are 2'9". That makes it easy. Option. Here I don't have to type anything in. I just click that. I go option. And that's 2'9". Let's erase some of those lines that we no longer need. That's a start for there. Let's get some of these windows done. They go in 4'2" and then 2'9". And then it goes 2'9". And then it goes 4'9". And then it goes 2'9". And then it goes 4'9". And then it goes 2'9". Now I've got those. I got to do the door below it, which is not the same as the windows. So let's get that in there. Orbit. Start working on that door. I'm going to go ahead and eliminate what I need to know. That door, I don't give you a lot of dimensions, so you're going to have to either measure it, but it is centered under that window. So let's go ahead and delete that window for now. I'm going to draw a line. Come down. It's a 2'10" wide door. So half of that's 1'5". So I'll copy this line in both directions. And the door itself, I don't have measured, I don't have dimension, but I can scale it. And it is 6'8" tall. And here I might cheat a little bit. Let's see what I'm going to do. I'm going to draw it. I'll go ahead and do it the way it measured. I select that, hopefully. 6'8". Okay, there's my door, but it's got this glass thing going around it, but that whole thing is 5'5" wide, which is 2'6" plus 2.5, 2'8.5". I'll go ahead and draw a line there. I'm just going to go up to here for now. And that top piece of glass looks to be, we're going to call it a foot. Actually, we're going to call it 1'4". I'll show you why in a minute. Let's get rid of some of these lines. Oh, it's got a little bit of trim on it. So let's do this. The reason I didn't go up a foot and I went up 1'4" was so I could put a little head over that door. There's that. And then I've got a pier that says it's 1'5". Let's see how that works out. There's a pier. I've got another one over here that's 1'5". This one's got a top piece that goes over. And I'm just going to go ahead and copy that line so it's symmetrical. You could also measure it. If I measure the first part of that is, let's call it a foot. It's got a little piece of trim on it that appears to overhang. Again, I will measure how big that overhang is. And it looks like 6 inches. So I'm going to go 6, enter. I'm going to go 6 up. I'm going to go 6 over. Oh, wait a minute. Yep, 6. I'm going to go 6 up. And there's that. Now, I'm going to go ahead and put these lines in, and at some point we'll see if I want to give it a little depth. I probably will, but we'll work about that later once I get the rest of my windows in. Hey, behave. Get rid of some junk lines. All right, I've got all the windows. I've got the door blocked out on the front. Now I'm going to put the windows on the side. 5'3". I love doing multiple lines at once. I know they're 2'9". And the distance to the next one and on the top is 11'1". I'll come back and do the bottom in a minute. So I'm going to just select the top. Okay, there's that. I'm going to do the bottom window. $7'10". 2'9", and this top window lines up with this bottom window below it, so I can just grab these two. You'll find that whenever you have an opportunity to copy something that's already there, take advantage of it instead of typing all the stuff in. Oops. Nope. Okay, let's get rid of lines we don't need. Last, I've got the garage door to put in. See, I screwed up my view. Scene 1. Let's zoom in on that garage door. It comes over 1'6" and it's 10 foot. Actually, I got to do the top door too, but. And 10 foot. And let's get rid of lines. I'm going to go ahead and do the door up top, which according to this is 9'1" in and 2'11" big. Actually, it's going to be centered on this. I can tell that. So I'm just going to go ahead and draw a line down from the middle. If it's 2'11", that means it's going to be 1'5.5" if I divide 2'11" by 2. And if you wanted to go 1'6", it probably wouldn't be the end of the world, but I'll be accurate. And it's up 1'5". Go ahead and get rid of this. Oops. I'd hoped to get both those lines. I didn't. So I'll just trace over it. There we go. This line goes up. The window, it is 4 feet tall. And I'll bet I got in trouble again. Yep. Sometimes Sketchup will figure out that you wanted it to be one line. Sometimes it won't. Let's get rid of lines we don't need. I'm going to go ahead and put some trim in. All right, let's do the eaves, the projection trim, which is I'm going to use the offset command. I'm going to use 6 inches, but I'm going to click. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set up offset, which is right there. Now I'm going to select 2 items. Shift up, shift, shift. There we go. And now if I click on it, I should be able to. Hey. Nope. Apparently it didn't take. There's that line. There's that line. Now we'll try offset. Oh, I'm sorry, I wasn't in offset. I was still in select, even though the little offset tool is showing up. I've got both lines. I click on offset. There we go, 6 inches. Let's erase lines we don't need. Let's get up here and do the same thing. Let's go ahead and save that just for fun. I'm going to push-pull some stuff. Just to make it line up with... Okay, let's take a look at this front piece. I'm going to push it backwards so it lines up with that face, and I'm going to move the windows back to go with it. Now I've got that front piece of trim all done. I'm going to do the same thing with the garage. Push, pull. I start clicking it, and then I just click on this face, and it'll line up with that face. I do it with that. I'm going to erase these lines because they'll drive me insane. I'm going to spend a little time on the front door, and then I'll add some detail to the windows. All right, the front door and these corner pieces of trim. Oh, it looks like we've got corner pieces of trim here that I didn't show. So that corner trim is 1'5". Let's go ahead and add it here. We've got another piece of corner trim back here, but I'm going to draw that as a separate line. I'm just going to draw a line on the bottom, 1'5". And then I can just go down there to end point and go straight up and hopefully just click it right here on, zoom in for me please. There, I want to make sure it's blue. Click it on edge. This line was a leftover from before and we want to get rid of it. All right. This is a little roof that sticks out over this door. And as far as how far it is, it doesn't really show up on the elevation, but I'm going to just punt and say, let's try it at, like, what's that? Why don't we just go out a foot for now? That's fine. And then I'm going to play connect the dots. Actually, that's wrong. We'll leave it stuck out a foot, but I want to get rid of some lines because the window has trim around it. And now I'm going to go ahead and add some window trim. I'm going to use my offset tool. Well, I'm going to get my offset tool ready because it's a grumpy one. The reason I wanted to do this now is because that roof will be impacted by this. Offset. And let's go 3.5. Not 3'5". That is some big trim right there. 3.5. There. Now I've got trim around the windows. Now I can fix this roof, because the roof only comes up to the bottom of the window trim, not to the bottom of the window opening. So let's get rid of this line. Let's extend this line. For now, I'm going to put a line here. I'm going to put a line here. I'm going to put a line here. And I'm going to put a line here. I'm going to reverse those faces because I think they're wrong. Nope, they were right. Okay. All right, so I've got trim around this one. I'm going to do the same thing with this window. I'm going to go ahead and offset it. Three and a half inches. And I'm going to add a little detail to this window. I'm going to go ahead and put a line in the middle. Midpoint. And I'm going to put a line in the middle of those two. And now I got to divide it in thirds. Well, it's 2'9", which is 24 9, 33 inches, which means that it's going to be, these are each 11-inch panes. That was 11 inches. There's 11 inches. Okay, and that's as far as I have to go with the grids. But now I'm going to do that famous copy what I need. And it gets funky with the grids, but I'm not going to copy that inside line of the window, just the grids and the trim. The grids are going to take you a while. But it's worth it in the end. And it's tough to see if I got them all, but we're going to find out. Go to the inside corner of that window. Sorry, option. I missed a grid, but I can fix that after. It's just one little line. I put the line in there. I select it. And I'm going to copy it. This one I've already got the trim in, so the outside trim, and I don't want to copy the outside trim again because it'll mess up what's there, so I'm just going to copy the grid. Again, it's kind of a pain, but if I can remember to hit option. There we go. So now I've got the front done to where I really need it done to draw on top of it. I would then do the side windows the same way. These is going to be, I won't have to do it twice, so I can just do it with any luck. We'll get our offset to work first time. Looks like we did. Let's do the grid lines. Half, half, half. And then if I take these, I know we got to go 11 inches, so let's just copy all of those. Oh, I already knew that. 11. Okay. Now I think I've got them all. We will find out shortly. Nope, that's okay. I'll put the other ones in. Garage door and this little, two things I want to do. I want to do the garage door, this little door, and I am going to pump out this trim a little bit, but let's get the garage door first. Garage door, we've got trim, offset at 3. Now, I could do trim on the edges of the building too, but I don't really need to. I'll just draw that in when it's time to draw. I like having it on the openings to keep it consistent. The garage is divided into 4s both ways, so. Put some trim around this one. This one's going to be obnoxious because it's got all those broken lines, but we're going to make it work. And, you know, I'm not going to, sure, why not? Let's just go up. Oh, that's not going to work. Oops. I actually don't care for that, but it's close enough. You'll notice I drew this cross buck I drew too small. When you go to trace over it, just draw it a little thicker and it'll look better. I'm not going to redo it. Okay, so I've got that done. The only thing I've got left to do is pump these out a little bit. I'm going to move those out. Let's say 3 inches. Just to show me a little depth. I didn't do anything on this side because you're not going to see it. There is a big piece of trim on top of this. So let's go ahead and put that in there. Lost a line there. I'm going to put it back in because my trim came out with it. I didn't really want that to happen. All right, and the rest, I mean, putting in detail on the door, breaking those, drawing little mullions in the windows, I can do that when I trace over it. Tree heights, let's come up with some numbers. This is pretty big. Blue, let's go, sure. I'm going to go 35 feet, which isn't that big, but it's close enough. Let's make this one 30. Not 30 inches. And have I got any other trees the same size? I'll bet I do. I want to make sure it says on face and image. Let's go back to scene to make sure I'm not spending a lot of time figuring out tree heights that I can't see. And I wouldn't draw the lines for all the little trees, but I'd put in a couple. Like this one, and I'll make it 10 feet tall. Again, feet, not inches. Make sure you're going in the blue direction, not the green direction. And the rest I should be able to eyeball and get pretty close. On face and image, on face and image. Let's put that one right about there. I do have, see, I've got steps at the front, and I would probably just fake those at this point. I would, I mean, yeah, I would just draw a slab in there for now, which is like where? Here. Sure. There's my front steps. We know where they are now, and you can draw a slab in there. Reverse faces. I mean, if you wanted to be a hero, you could make it a short door and just bring that up like 4 inches. And now you got a little step there, just to show there's a step. It's not accurate. I'm not going to make you figure out the grading for this whole site. But I do have a stone wall, so I'm going to go ahead and draw one in. I'm just going to get close to it. I'm just tracing this right off the drawing. We got here, we got here, we got about there, got about there. We'll go there, and I'm going to make it 2 feet tall. Everything else, you know there's a tree line back here. You can smudge in your trees and put them where you want to. I don't know if I show a tree line in the back or not. No, that's the lake. So you've got a lake, you got a beach here, and you got a lake going on back here. So somehow you're going to have to hint at water. I would suggest you kind of hint at the water and get some trees going in the back here. Questions? I'm going to stop this now.